Hey everybody, it's Lesley with the TFP, and we are talking the presidential debate. Surprise, surprise, and we have a lot to talk about. Let's go over, again, who we all are and what perspectives we are able to share with you.
I'm Ellis Smith. I'm the digital editor, and I don't really have a perspective. I'm just here to learn.
Well, we can help you out with that. I'm such a teacher.
Yeah, and I hope to learn from you as well. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that encouragement on the daily. I am the digital reporter on the team with Ellis here at the TFP, so I'm going to share my observations and also your observations about this second of 3 presidential debates.
And I'm Pam Sohn. I'm the editorial page editor for the Times editorial page, opinion writing.
That means she leans a little to the left, for those of you who don't know.
It's a little.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
Or a lot.
I'm Clint Cooper, and I'm the editor of the Chattanooga Free Press opinion page, so I lean a little bit to the right.
A lot to the right.
His right, your left. Wait, yeah.
Okay, and we're in the gray as reporters, correct? Kind of? Okay. So, last night, we're going to start at the beginning, like we did last time we talked about the debate, about observations. So, Hillary came out in this town hall setting in St. Louis, and it was a group of undecideds. So, she comes out to greet them, smiling, actually seemed beaming to be walking out on this platform, and then Donald Trump came out, didn't appear as gleeful, and then
Why might that have been, I wonder?
yeah. Do you want to start talking about
Don't
why
you think he was
that would?
glowering?
I don't know, but definitely a different appearance than normal. And why, you may ask? I don't think any of us really have to ask. On Friday, the Washington Post put out a video recording from 11 years ago where Trump was speaking with Access Hollywood anchor Billy Bush on a bus. You could hear them about his own actions of sexual assault. So a lot of people jumping to still support him before this debate, a lot of people against him. Some call it, quote, the riskiest act of deflection in modern presidential history, as far as those still supporting him. This was all leading up to the debate. There was a lot of commentary right before the debate. So, again, starting the debate, Hillary comes out beaming. Trump doesn't look so happy. I think we all know that probably played into that. And then a first question was asked, and it went to Hillary. The question from moderator Anderson Cooper was, are you both modeling, and it wasn't by the moderator Anderson Cooper, I want to mention he was a moderator. The question was from a lady named Patrice, who was a teacher, and she asked, are you both modeling positive and appropriate behaviors for today's youth? So, stemming from what went on over the weekend, the recording, that was the first question. So, what did you think about that and their responses?
Oh, I didn't think either one of them answered it.
Oh, okay.
I think
Wait, they dodged a question in a debate?
I know, go figure.
That's weird. I don't buy it. He must have missed something.
I think they did, then they, of course, they
danced.
pivoted right into the thing about Trump's.
The thing.
Well, the recording, okay, the recording.
Mm-hmm.
And,
You don't like pronouns?
And they began
No.
to talk about that, and I think she spoke first and saying how reprehensible it was, or I don't have her exact
Right.
words, but then he sort of pivoted and he said he apologized and
and then he
began to
started
move on.
talking about ISIS. Imagine that.
Right.
Well, he
Pivoting
also
immediately from-
had a Trump card, or whatever you want to call it, didn't he? I mean, he pulled off a little bit of a stunt in advance during the debate. He had, was it 3 accusers or 4 accusers of Hillary's Bill, were sitting. He tried to seat them in the family box, the Trump family box, to have them front and center. But then the organizers wouldn't let them, but they ended up getting seated in there anyway. But you had, was it Paula Jones? Who were the other ones?
Kathleen Lilly, I think.
Yeah.
So that was right before the debate.
Jennifer Flowers, maybe.
Jennifer Flowers.
He went Facebook Live with that. So that's why some people were calling it, quote, the riskiest act of deflection in
Yeah.
modern presidential
So
history.
he was saying, yes, I did, and I'm paraphrasing him. He said, yes, I said a bunch of horrible things, but look, this guy is accused of doing horrible things, or something to that effect. Am I paraphrasing correctly?
I think so. I think basically what he was trying to do was turn the debate into reality TV.
Mm-hmm. Did it work?
I mean, no. No, actually it didn't. And there was, on the other side, after the tape came out and before the debate started, 28 Republicans bailed on their endorsements of Trump based on what they heard on the tape. So going into it, he needed that deflection. He needed that tit for tat to sort of balance that, I think, going into the debate.
Or his team thought so. Someone obviously did because it happened. What do you think about
he
that?
needed to change directions. I mean, obviously he wanted both to put that behind him, but also to get on with the things that he didn't do in the last debate. And many people at that time thought, and I thought too, that he didn't particularly try to hit hard at her negatives, or what he perceived to be her negatives in the race. And he didn't, after answering the questions, he didn't turn back to her, or not turn to her, but I mean, he didn't
Like the first debate.
pivot to other issues. And
He did say he wanted her to be in prison, though, at one point.
Yeah, in this one,
Right,
Yes,
so,
right.
yeah.
And I mean, that was what I think his strategy was for
Right.
this debate. So get the apology thing out of the way again, and then move to other issues.
No, I did notice that too, that there was a different, not as much of a bullying behavior at the beginning, at least, but then he got into, all the saying he wanted her behind bars and he would make sure that happened if he became president. But, we have to get this recording out of the way like they did at the debate, mentioning it. So after that first question was asked by a nice teacher, she seemed nice, named Patrice, saying, "Are you both modeling positive and appropriate behavior?" And then, like you said, they didn't really answer the question, or you didn't feel like they answered the question. Anderson Cooper, the moderator, who, as an observation from a reporter standpoint, was a stronger moderator than Lester Holt in the first presidential debate. He spoke more. You heard more from him. He geared the second question towards Trump about the recording. Anderson Cooper, I'm quoting him right now, he says, "You described kissing women without consent and grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You've bragged that you've sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?" Question. That was the second question in the debate. So that's a pretty clear question from our moderator. So different from Lester Holt's questioning.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Because you admittedly did not watch both the
No.
debates like we did. So
I'm just glad people weren't recording stuff I said 11 years ago. No, I mean,
I'm glad too.
No, I mean Trump.
For you.
Yeah, Trump said some horrible things for sure that were awful, that were recorded in this book.
Did you
And Billy
listen to the
Bush,
recording?
Yes, I did
Okay.
listen to that recording, and I listened with Billy Bush, and it's worth mentioning he's also suspended from whatever
Today's
it is,
Show.
From the
Today's
Today Show.
He
And,
should be.
Yeah, I mean, because he was sort of egging on or participating or whatever. However, I think the long-term impact of this, I think a lot of Trump supporters, if they haven't had conversations exactly like these of their own in jest or whatever, know people that have. I don't think you're going to see a big fall off. I mean, I played sports in high school. We certainly jokingly had conversations that had horrible content. Now, was it this bad?
man
I don't
was
know.
59 years old.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
not in a high school locker room. He was on a bus with a television person.
Right, and a microphone going.
And age 59.
Right. And the other question is he describing acts that he legitimately did? And that's something Lesley and I were talking about today. Is this
He said
the other question
he
is he
did.
saying I've sexually assaulted women, or is he
doesn't,
is he joking?
in
I don't
his
know.
mind, from what he's said, he doesn't view grabbing he said he grabs women's genitals, and he quote could because he's a star and they let him. So he does not view that in his mind as sexual assault. While Anderson Cooper, posing the question as a moderator, is saying that is sexual assault. You've bragged that you've sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that? That was the second question, and he said to Anderson Cooper, "You don't understand what I said." Quote from Trump, "This was locker room talk." So there's...
I think he asked, or someone asked him, did you do that at some point? And I think he said, do the things that were described on the tape. And I think he said no. Now, what he may view that talk like, maybe another thing altogether, but I think they did ask him, and I think he did say no. Whether that was true or not, we don't know. But
there have been other allegations from other women that he has.
Yeah, now that's something, now, I mean, to the extent that there's been actions that have accompanied this kind of talk, I mean, I think that's something certainly that, I mean, you should make a debate about that. To what extent, and that's something we were talking about, is who's come forward, what kind of allegations are we dealing with here of substantive sexual assault?
Well, obviously, from a very educated reporter's understanding and comprehension of the words that the Washington Post reported, he felt that he was saying, you've bragged that you sexually assaulted women. And a lot of other people, not Anderson Cooper, who's a reporter, we all know a lot of people on Facebook are saying those are actions that he was supporting, his own actions. And then you have people totally on the other side going right to Bill Clinton's alleged actions, and they are what people call deflecting, or they're like, hey, I've had conversations like this too, which honestly, outside of being a reporter, is really concerning to me if you've had conversations like that. But I guess people say that they have. So, outside of being a reporter, it was very hard for me to listen to that. So I guess it's not hard for everybody too, obviously, because that's what you're saying all over social media, right?
Well, I think to me the first 30 minutes, regardless of what side you're on, we're not worthy of a television debate. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have talked about it, but it was
it's like they had to
very
get it
uncomfortable,
out.
and I don't
as uncomfortable as listening to the recording. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right. And I just think it was.
I think
not worthy of a debate.
I think it had to probably. You couldn't totally not address it as a moderator.
Right. No, you had to. You had to. I think getting it out of the way early and then
Second
moving
question.
on. Yeah, and then moving on to policy type stuff was exactly the right way to handle it.
Okay.
Any way you look at it, it was cringeworthy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's move on. Did some policy stuff get addressed? Do you feel like it did? No?
I feel like every answer they gave was an answer they've given before.
Right, and I think, whatever answer they did make, they then turned to complete an answer from a previous question or to answer a charge that the other one had made. Right. So that was...
for voters, this sounds very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
I think
there was one for the first time, an environmental question asked, at least an energy question asked.
Which you liked.
Which I did like. It was the very last question. No,
second
next to last question.
Yes.
Saving the best for second to last.
We have our notes here. Yeah. Okay. How about you? Did you think the voters took anything issue-wise, policy-wise, or could they have? Or you think they were probably still reeling from the beginning of all this?
I don't think a whole lot of new ground was broken. They did, they talked about energy. They talked about Syria, which I think went over a lot of people's heads, and what to do about Aleppo, and how Russians and Iranians were involved, and who was on what side. And I think for most voters, that probably went over their heads. Mm-hmm. They did talk about taxes and Trump's taxes, and
what was he saying about that?
Well, he was saying they were trying to pin him down on whether he had in fact used a legal IRS loophole, I guess it would be.
How much did he write off again?
It was nearly $1 billion.
Nearly $1 billion, 900 and something.
And he carried those losses forward. That's what the debate was about, right? He had like almost $1 billion in losses, and he carried some of those into the next year so that he could write off some more taxes that next year.
I think he carried it off for a number of years.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Up to
17 years or
18.
something like that.
Right.
Right. And
Okay. So they talked about that.
his allegation was that, hey, all of her supporters, or many of her big supporters, had done the same thing. So what's the big deal? But,
He
that's
specifically named Warren Buffett, and I notice on my news feed that Warren Buffett has said now to Trump, I have paid federal income tax every year since 1944.
Okay.
Yeah, he went through and he actually listed his most recent returns. That he's, of course, he made a profit a lot of those years, but yeah, Warren Buffett has rebutted that pretty detailed way. He says he's got his tax returns going back, I guess, 49 years or however many it's been since he started paying taxes. So I don't know.
Okay. And then what was this deal when he said if he is elected about imprisoning Hillary? What was that all about?
I think he said that he would name a special prosecutor to look into the issues about her email server and the emails that have been deleted, and I think the hopes would be, his hopes might be, that she would be jailed over that. I think that's how that came about.
He actually mentioned her that he would put her in jail twice.
Twice.
Okay.
Double jail.
Okay.
Double secret jail.
Double secret probation.
Okay. So Ellis, what do you think about all of this you're hearing?
Well, it sounds like the town hall formats are always interesting because they're roaming around, right? And I kind of like that a little bit because you get more of the body language. When people are stuck to the podium, they really grip tightly to that podium, and you don't get to see a lot of body language.
I think they're nervous, but I wish they didn't they have their question and they're reading it
Yeah.
I wish it was more real talk, a conversation like we're having, but I think that's just not natural for many people to be on a
They're not
camera.
all as polished as you, Lesley.
Well, thank you, Clint. I've only been doing this since I was 5 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
They haven't.
But
no,
I like
but I
the
wish
format.
that they could just shake it and ask questions off the cuff and
Right.
not, but that.
Like, how long would it take to memorize your question?
Well, if
It's
you could
just 7
could
words.
just ask a question based on what I don't know, but it never goes like that because they have to know and there's producing.
One of the
and
questioners
all
has
that.
already achieved a meme on Facebook.
Oh.
No longer undecided guy. The guy? Are you talking about the guy
The guy
who's
with the
sitting there
sweater
with
and the glasses and anyway. Was he
yeah,
the one that
there's-
asked the energy question? I can't.
There was one
Yeah,
who
he
said,
did-
who
he did
asked them
have
to say
glasses.
something, and so I didn't watch the debate in real time because I had family over, but I watched a bunch of videos today.
We
and-
watched it today. Well, I watched it and he listened.
And I found very amusing, I think it was the last question, they were like, what can you guys say something that you admire about each
That's
other?
what I have here.
And
yeah.
I thought, oh, well, that's kind of nice. It was somehow...
That was the
it
last question.
It was really sappy and silly, but it was nice to have, force them to come up with something that they admire about the other person.
So we went from the locker room talk as the first question to this,
Yeah.
where people are like,
yeah,
it's-
so you get both extremes.
And Clinton said, "I respect his children." That was a quick.
Which wasn't about him.
Right. Well,
Right.
she said.
Sort of dodged the question again.
No, she said.
Gotcha,
quote,
Hillary.
No, quote. She said his children are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald. I think that's something that as a mother and grandmother is very important to me. So she said, I think that seems a lot.
okay.
I
All right,
I think
ruling
that was
on the
pretty,
field,
I think that was
it's
pretty
overturned.
nice after.
And
then
then Trump
Yeah.
spent the first few sentences of his answer
talking about himself.
talking about the compliment she just gave him.
That was the best compliment of all time.
No way. And he said, I will say this about Hillary, after slightly expressing his appreciation for a compliment, yeah. Quote, she doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I respect that. She's a fighter. And she uses the word fight a lot when she speaks,
Yeah.
too. Yeah. I mean,
So it was nice to
fighting
kinda,
words right here.
It was nice to
For
see
both of them.
that, and I don't know why. Normally, I find all that stuff to be a real.
You like
the
that
powder
part.
puff stuff, I find to be a real
Oh.
turn off because you really wanted to get into substantive issues.
Powder puff stuff. Is that
Well,
like
you know,
locker
the
room talk?
yeah, the kind of lovey-dovey. I don't want that in a debate. You guys do that on your own
But
time.
you wanted to see
I
them
wanted-
shake hands because they didn't shake hands at the beginning.
Right. It's just. It seems like after all
Okay.
the vitriol, for some reason, maybe it
All
was
the-
finally time for a nice word.
All the
you know?
support for sexual assaults. And
If they had to
all
get it in
that.
somewhere, probably the end was the right place to do a question like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was, she said, the moderator said, we've got time to sneak in one more question.
Oh.
And
Okay.
I think that was a way of letting people who had stuck with the debate all the way
A
through
little
Yeah.
to
reward for
leave
their work.
feeling good.
That's right. But I mean, typically I do like, the foreign policy stuff, as you said, I think it always turns into like a quiz show game, like who knows where Aleppo is, and
right.
like, okay, which Syrian city is ISIS currently
Right.
assaulting,
Right,
and like
right.
Bashar Assad, how's his alliance with Russia going? Where's the
Yeah.
new airbase? Who knows where the new airbase is that Russia has in Syria? You get to be president if you get it right. All that
Right.
stuff is stupid. Like, I mean, what we really want to know is, are you going to involve us in all this craziness or not? I mean, that's what people really want to know, is what level of involvement. I mean, are we going to have troops on the ground? Are we going to have bombs in people's huts? I mean, I think those are, you could keep it really simple. I think that it always turns into, as I
They
said,
just go off
sort of a
on
quiz show
tangent
format.
and everything.
I think the domestic stuff is what I'm more interested in hearing about. And me in particular. Now, I don't know about everybody else.
I'd
out
be
there.
interested to know about the producing value of something like that, like how they decide which questions, which people, the order of questions.
Yeah.
From a reporter's standpoint, that would be really interesting for
I think
for
a lot
us
of
to
that's
know.
agreed upon. I think the campaigns, they have the commission, and the commissioner, I guess, is voted on by the two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, correct?
I think they set the policy up on where the debates are going to be, and who's going to do what kinds of debate they're going to be, and that kind of thing. But I don't know if they do the questions until later. Decide what questions.
I wonder if the reporters
Well, they
get to
said they
determine
did.
those.
I don't. Yesterday, they said that they had just gotten the questions from the audience that morning,
Okay.
And no one else had seen them
no
or
one
something?
else had
Yeah.
seen them except
Well, that's cool.
the
And I
two
wonder how they
moderators.
really narrow it down to the audience. Like, where does that start? How, you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to know all of that.
I guess they
And
give
it-
them some discretion in that, which is kind of nice.
Well, I think
Is it like picking a jury? I mean,
Well, I
you
would-
know?
I heard something a few days ago, Friday or Thursday, that the people were chosen to be in this forum, in this town hall, based on whether they were decided or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And
These
many
were
of them were
undecided.
undecided.
Undecided. They said they were
Yeah,
all
I
undecided.
think they were supposed to be undecided voters.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that must be a huge challenge to find undecided voters.
Truly
how do you,
undecided voters.
How do you,
right.
how
And
do you
in
do
a way, finding truly undecided voters is a little skewed in this particular election anyway. It seems
Yeah.
to me. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
you
mean,
do
and
that.
why are you undecided? Are you undecided because you're just hugely disgusted with the
You
entire
haven't-
process?
or you
Right.
haven't paid attention
Maybe,
at all.
yeah, maybe you
or-
don't know anything. You've had your TV off. Maybe you've been living in another land. Maybe you were up on the International Space Station for a while. Doing some astronaut work. I mean, you got it. There can't be that many ways that somebody can have missed
Right.
everything at this
Right.
point.
Right.
But I don't know. Obviously, they found some. So and
They-
how do you verify
there's
that?
no-
Like, are you really
That's right.
undecided?
I wonder how they decide that.
Put them up with a polygraph
Right.
machine or
Right.
something like that.
We have some comments from you all. Karen Long Joyce said, neither of them ever speak on issues. That's why, as close as it is to election
undecided.
day, yes, I haven't been able to make a decision.
Let's bring her in.
Oh,
They-
yeah.
Send your
She's
information to
saying she hasn't been able
CNN.
to make
She
it?
can't. She
Wow.
says, I haven't been able to make a decision as to whom I will be placing my vote for. Then you have Donald Woods saying, the problem with my hometown, Chattanooga, is everybody is influenced by the Bible and Civil War, and that's why you are nuts.
There's
in
the
caps."
problem with Chattanooga. We should tell Andy Burke that. Andy, we were too influenced by the Bible and the Civil War, so...
Well, listen as he says.
whatever
Well,
you
which
need.
is more important,
Yeah.
the Bible or the Civil War?
Well, clearly the Civil War.
Still fighting.
Just
it, are we?
kidding. Joke.
Okay, and then this guy does go on to say, I'm voting for Hillary Clinton, and all the Democrats, you Republicans, are the ones who's guilty. Who's? It's I don't know.
Of what?
Okay.
What are the charges?
I didn't do it.
We're sending you to jail.
Oh, also, Julie Potter Whitehead says, if you have been paying attention at all, she's speaking to us,
Oh, well, yeah.
you have an opinion. Thank you. Okay.
Yes, we do. That's
They-
what
they-
we do.
They do,
That's
and
why I don't pay attention.
He doesn't. A lot of reporters too. Anderson Cooper actually has went on the record saying that he doesn't vote. As a reporter, he's
I
said
actually
in the
don't vote.
past that he doesn't vote. I do vote. I am a person outside of being a reporter, and I do have an opinion outside of being a reporter. But
is
reporters
all I
are
am.
very different
This
about
is it.
this. Reporters
Right.
are
Are
different.
reporters people?
Kind
I'm a
of.
reporter.
We're all, yeah. But no, throughout my whole journalism career, I've heard this debate between reporters if you vote or not. And I was actually kind of surprised to hear that on Anderson Cooper. He admitted that on Howard Stern earlier this year. I'm a big Howard Stern.
I've kind of haphazardly tried to register to vote a couple of times, and
I cannot believe you're serious. You do not vote. Are you serious right now?
It's such an arduous process, and you sign up for it whenever you get your driver's license. Then they send you more stuff that you got to deal with. They always send me things. They need additional forms, and I'm not going back there. I'm sorry. When I'm in there and I say I want to register to
it's
vote.
It's a whole lot easier than filing your taxes. Let me add.
Do you file?
You can you can go to the
I go to jail for that if I don't.
And be out in and out in 5 minutes, I think.
I'm here hanging out with you guys. Plus I also do say I feel like it's easier. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not going to vote for either one.
That is really
in
interesting.
any election
for
any time.
For me, it's a lot easier to look at things dispassionately, not voting.
And Karen Long-Joyce, who's undecided, she said, I should have said that I haven't been able to have peace about voting for either of them. So
haven't been able to
find
peace. Right.
So someone's looking for inner peace in this process?
Yeah, she wants to be able to feel like at peace with her decision.
I think most people who vote in this race won't have peace.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more like, this number right here.
I think some people are very...
I think that's very true for Republicans.
Yeah. But then there are some...
Well, you've got a lot of Sanders folks who are still...
That's true.
They're going to vote for Hillary probably because I imagine that they don't care too much for Donald Trump either. But I don't think they're going to be just, splendid, I get to go vote for Hillary. What a day. I don't think that's going to be the attitude of a lot of the primary voters on the Democrat side. Now, maybe what they've seen recently, maybe they've liked what they've seen more of Hillary lately. I don't know. But I think there's going to be a little bit of it on both sides.
I spoke with some politicians on Friday evening when this came out in person who were speaking to other Republican supporters of Trump, women who were like, fine with it. So there are some people who are die-hard Trump.
Oh, yeah.
The politician I was speaking to, Republican too, was saying the woman he was speaking with on the phone was an evangelical Christian. She wasn't bothered by it. So some people who are just die-hard for one or the other, it does not matter what comes out.
I think that's the case for a lot of voters. In this case, as bad as the tape was and as bad as the things he said, I think that's not going to change a lot of his supporters.
I don't either.
And of course, her supporters would be against it, and they're not going to change for that.
Yeah.
The other
Right.
reason. So I don't know. It's a.
And then let's go local a little bit. I was saying I was around some local politicians on Friday at a different event, but Haslam is calling. He's saying something about this. He's calling for Trump to resign. Ellis, you read that story, right?
Yeah.
Resign from what?
To resign.
Being the candidate?
Yeah, maybe resign. Well, he didn't I think that was a
From the
headline.
nomination.
Yeah. I think that was a headline that was chosen. He didn't actually specifically say resign, but he wants him to step down. He's saying, and several Republicans.
What about Corker? What did he come out saying?
Corker is on his Security Council now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We have that story as well. But did he say what he thought about the recording?
Yes, he said the recording was disgusting. That's not exactly his words, but that he denounced the recording, but not his endorsement.
Mm-hmm. And then Giuliani has been on a lot talking about this, which isn't local, but he said something kind of like you mentioned, that he's said horrible things. And everyone keeps saying on the golf course. Do you guys talk like this on the golf course? Everyone keeps saying
Come play
that.
sometime.
No thanks. And then David Carroll, our anchor at our media partner, Channel 3, he's always very witty, but he said something like, outside of politics, he said something like this, outside of politics, coaches, let's talk about what goes on in the locker rooms. Like seriously, like local coaches may want to talk to your team about what's appropriate. So I thought that was a good point from DC. Hey, DC.
Especially for 59-year-olds. Again,
Yeah. What kind of sport is that?
I honestly think it's for any age. Maybe we should have some talks about what's okay. Yeah. Sexual assault, isn't it? But anyways. Any more on local reaction? There's certainly a ton of reaction on our Facebook page and pretty much everywhere on the internet. And I mean, it's safe to say that this incident has kind of taken over the issues and the policy talk, which are what some voters, at least the undecideds last night in St. Louis at this second debate, need to hear, along with Karen Long Joyce on our Facebook. They probably don't want to hear about all this stuff anymore. I'm just speculating. And they want to make a decision based on issues and policies. So we have one more debate. I need to find out for you guys when that next one is. We'll be talking about it. But, there are these people undecided.
Wednesday, not this Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the
Next
following Wednesday, I
I
believe.
think that's right.
Thank
Okay.
goodness, not on a
It's
weekend. I appreciate that. Maybe I'll actually get to watch it. That'll be good.
Okay. And then I did have some reaction too from the people who are involved, like Trump's VP running mate Mike Pence tweeted, "Congrats to my running mate at Real Donald Trump on a big debate win. Proud to stand with you as we hashtag MAGA." Do you know what that means?
Make America great again.
MAGA? Hashtag MAGA?
Yes. Right.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Takes a while to type out those
Hashtag
letters.
Right.
Make America Great Again. That takes up your whole tweet pretty much.
MAGA.
That's right.
MAGA.
And MAGA is much more succinct. Does
Okay.
Hillary have one?
Yeah, she said
What's her hashtag?
I'm with her.
I'm with her.
it was definitely somebody from her team, but it's on her tweet. It says he went low, she went high. So,
Which was an excellent strategy for her.
Now, was there a consensus on, how they
On
have
who
debate
won?
winners? I guess the first debate, CNN had Trump ahead after that one. What was
it's really all getting trumped by that recording. Like where the first debate
Sure.
was so more analytical about stuff like that. You're just it's
But
still
what-
like
The
staying
snap
on to
poll
that.
Yeah,
that
the
they
polls.
had last night on, I think, both CNN and New York Times was that she won.
Okay. Why,
But-
what was the? Do you remember any margins or
I had
anything
seen
like that?
others that said he won.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
who knows?
Shocking.
I'm sure we'll get it maybe today or tomorrow now because it was the weekend. It's hard to do those to call people over the
Right.
weekend. But I imagine by this evening tomorrow we'll have some sort of poll. CNN did, as I said, they did one last time, and they'll probably have another one. I would imagine. So we'll
Yes.
find out who won the undecideds. It would be
Okay.
a tough one. It'd be a tough one for Trump to win, but who knows?
We'll see. I don't know.
Well, on the tape, I feel like I have to say this.
Okay.
When he was asked about the tape at the beginning of the debate, and he did his apology was about, max 3 sentences long. And then he immediately started talking about ISIS. Can we
Yeah.
deflect a little more?
How many sentences should it have been?
It should have been several more sentences. We've spent more sentences on it this morning.
That's
Okay.
true.
And I did hear this morning, analyzing some of it. Some Republicans were saying they thought that he needed to get more talking time, and then Democrats were saying he did actually take a minute more, like a minute and 3 seconds more talking time than Hillary. But whenever there's a debate, both sides, you have people saying like they didn't get enough talking time, or they didn't get enough talking time.
Interrupted him or her or whatever. Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
moderators were better this time in trying to get them back to the subject. I'll say from the
It
first
was-
debate and the vice presidential debate, they were better this time.
So you like to see the moderators get in there and get active and kind of redirect.
Well, after a point, it just gets ridiculous. It's kind of a back and forth, and
Yeah.
then you've lost the subject, and they do want to get on and talk about some additional subjects. So I like sort of directing after a certain point.
Yeah, I think it's a style, and it's everybody has an opinion about the moderator. I'm a big fan of Anderson Cooper, so I always feel like he's pretty real, and think he knows what he's talking about, so he's able to take a hold when he needed to. That is my opinion as a journalist about Anderson Cooper's role. And then the woman co-moderator,
Martha Raddatz?
Yes, she's from ABC, correct? Yeah. What do you think about her?
I thought she was the same way with Anderson Cooper. There was one point where she fell into the Candy Crowley role from the 2012 debate, where she tried to help out Hillary Clinton, which I thought was, oh boy, here we go again. but other than that, I thought she did about as good a job as Anderson Cooper did. I mean, as good a job in trying to get the debate back to
Keep
where it
things
should
moving.
be. Right, right.
Right.
What about you,
Keep them
Sam?
on,
Yeah.
trying to keep them on track or
Okay.
move them along to the next question if they stayed too long on one thing.
My question, genuine curiosity here, did we learn anything new as far as where these folks stand on, you mentioned energy, what did we learn that was new about them? Was there anything, or was it just kind of rehashing old arguments?
I don't know that there was anything new that either one of them said that you couldn't have learned by going to their
Right.
Facebook site or going to their website or that kind of thing. And I didn't hear any really new ground broken as far as I know.
No, I didn't either. Now, that said, we're all pretty much wonks,
True.
maybe except for Ellis, who didn't watch, but
And apparently doesn't
He
vote.
doesn't vote.
and doesn't vote. But so maybe
have
out
a
there
serious
in
talk.
viewer land, people did learn new things.
And if that's the case, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And we want to hear from you. We have a lot of comments coming in right now, and I see like almost 9,000 people have seen this. So
Wow.
keep watching. It's called impressions. So like they look at it on our Facebook page. So we're monitoring all of that, and we'll continue to. And Ellis and I, talk every day about what we're going to cover locally. It's important for us to cover the local angle of all of this. So
I'd be curious to know if there's other voters out there who truly haven't decided.
yeah.
What are they looking for?
We just have the one here.
Yeah, I mean, if there's others, but
Come in, we want
Yeah.
to talk to you and study you.
what are they looking for? What do they want to hear from them? Why are they undecided
Yeah.
as
Right.
of now? I think that would be interesting.
I think
How,
it would be
and how,
interesting.
too.
how much, if you're undecided, how much have you been watching these candidates and trying to decide? Has it been because you can't decide between them, or you're just tuning in?
Yeah.
Or do you truly just tune in at this time every year, every
Right.
presidential election? Just say, I'm not going to listen to anything, and
Just
then
the debates are what I'm
October
gonna
before
watch.
the November election, we'll tune in.
It'd be interesting to hear if anyone is jumping party too. If anyone's actually doing that.
I would have loved to have heard at the debate last night, although they couldn't do this way, but to hear from those undecided voters asking those questions. Why are you undecided? Of course, then the debate would be about the voter.
I always
voters,
wonder
but-
that though. Every
Yeah,
debate,
why-
I'm like,
yeah.
where do they find?
Yeah.
How do you determine? Like, how? I mean, can I?
Sometimes
What
you
if I
can
said I was
tell-
undecided, but really I'm a Republican and I'm like, plant or a Democrat, and I'm
Right.
like
Right.
there to kind of like, oh, I'm definitely after that. I thought Trump's performance was really convincing, or I thought Hillary did a really great job, and so I'm switching over to her.
Sometimes you
or
can tell
why
by their
not?
question.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I
It's
just, I
important
always,
to
and
them.
that's just the cynic in me. So I apologize for that, but I always do kind of
That's why you're
question
here.
whether or not any of them watching you people.
Yes.
Are really undecided.
Okay. Well, everyone, I hope we helped in some way, or at least, got a discussion going in your mind or with somebody else. And I think as much you see on social media about all of this, and as annoying as it can get, at least people are talking.
Yeah,
You
I was
know?
saying that to somebody today, actually, is that I think I can certainly say that I've had more people who have never been interested in politics before asking me what I think about this or that, or saying, hey, have you heard? And of course I'm like, yes, I've heard that. I work at a newspaper, but don't you hate that?
Yes.
We've heard it, okay? We've
Yes.
heard it all. You don't need to ask us. We've heard about it. But are actually asking me and getting involved in this, and I think, maybe this election's a wash. Maybe we don't get a great candidate either way. But I certainly, maybe I'm trying to be,
Okay.
But
Pam doesn't think so.
But I certainly think we've gotten a lot more people now paying attention. They have context for whatever happens next. So for whatever the next election is, the next 2 years, the next 4 years, I think you've got a lot of people. A lot like with Obama. You have a lot of people now who were got really excited about politics. Either for him or against him. And since then, now they have a context for when the next thing happens. They're like, oh, okay. And it's really a political education, I think, for a lot of younger people, these types of things. So maybe that's the silver lining to all this, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we don't want them involved. I don't know.
I'd also love to know if you guys would respond to us how much the
Another undecided.
effect of the tape had on you tuning into this weekend if you're just coming in.
That would be
This was
interesting to know.
a crazy wild weekend. I had written something
I saw
different,
that.
completely different for Monday's paper, and on Sunday morning so much had happened that the news had overtaken what I had written, and I had to come in and rewrite.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Which I mean,
You messed up Pam's
fine,
weekend.
but
Trump. Couldn't you guys time this? Release
Trump
things
should
on a
have
Thursday
not
or a Wednesday?
done that on Friday.
Or 11
Or,
years ago.
yeah, maybe 11 years ago in one day. It could have been a huge difference there.
You owe Pam an apology.
That's right.
So
We're talking about you, Donald Trump.
Camellia Salamander says that they are undecided.
Yeah.
So
So there are people who are admittedly
we may be reaching
undecided.
out to you for more information.
He also does say, if I were Hillary, I wouldn't even debate that dude again. So, still undecided.
What kind of undecided voter are you?
But he's still undecided.
This is my point, yeah. I mean,
Well, that's a person who probably is like the lesser of two, you
Yeah.
know. So people, may feel, but they're still undecided.
Actually, that's what I'm talking about in my editorial tomorrow. That,
what a great...
Thank
you.
Right, thank you
Camilio.
for that.
Camilio.
That, I think in this debate, in this election year, that there are so many people who have already decided, although we've learned today, there are some who haven't.
Or don't
But
vote.
I just think the debates this year sometimes have gotten so far off the issues and gone into lesser issues that they really haven't been as effective maybe as they should be. And so that was kind of
Right,
my
I
thought
know.
about that.
When I was watching it and you were listening and working, I was like, "Wait, what was the question?" Like it went so far off.
I just don't feel like I'm getting
I was
a lot of
actually
information
going
about the
back
policy
on my
positions.
phone, like to hear the question again. Yeah.
And how do we? I mean, am I alone in that? In the clips, maybe I have to watch the whole debate to really get a handle on it. But the clips that I've seen, and I've seen a bunch, I just don't feel like I'm getting any more education on where they stand on policy. And maybe that's
No.
just because I'm not hearing it correctly, or I'm not seeing the right clips.
Well, you have to really really listen, and then kind of like what I do is I have to go back. Like I have to really be listening to find those answers because you said
Pull up
they
the
are
text.
there.
Right. Well, that's
But
kind of
it's-
the point I was making about the
Like reading
apology
a
was
hard
not
novel, you know.
not just about the apology, but he went literally from apology to ISIS is beheading people.
Yeah.
Even forget the apology or the need for the apology for a minute. That's just hard to follow.
It's hard to follow.
Right, but again, as I
hard to
said
follow.
earlier, I think that was the strategy that for him, right or wrong. I mean,
Right.
that was the strategy this time, is to pivot from whatever answer you've been asked
Yeah.
to get into all the things that you didn't say before, which that was the criticism of him last time, is that he didn't turn and make the case for some of the things that people, don't like about her or the things that she's done. And so I think that was sort of drummed into him, or maybe he drummed it into himself, but that's what he would do with each answer this time. And he did it. I mean, whether you like it or not, or like the strategy or don't like it, that's what he did.
Yeah, that's a very standard, very well tried and true strategy.
It's not very helpful to
No.
the public,
Right?
No,
voters,
but
but
yeah, helpful to the public.
looks good for reality TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan Landrum
Yeah, he
says,
says there was only one candidate last night talking policy specifics. Well, which one? Let us know who you're talking about, Dan.
yeah, curious. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
okay.
all. That's all the reader comments we've got.
Yeah, and whether we're off air or I always say air because I worked at a bunch of TV stations. I'll be calling I'm at the station. I'm at the newspaper. We're going to try to engage with you guys more. Our web team is going to be talking with you even if we're not on Facebook Live. So keep talking to us, okay? All right, we've done enough talking. I think. Are we agreed on that?
Anything else?
Okay, so what can they read from you two in the paper or online? What can people go read?
We have editorials every day.
Every day.
about this.
Not every day about this, but there are editorials every day.
I have an editorial today
What's the
that I
topic?
hope you will read.
What's it called? What was the focus?
It's about the weekend, the
crazy
everything
weekend.
from the tape being released to to the hurricane to all of the Republicans bailing from endorsing Trump.
It's a wild
28,
weekend.
28 this weekend.
Okay.
29 counting Haslam.
Yeah.
My Monday editorial is always sort of a lighthearted thing I call Eye on the Left, and so I take several things, usually four topics, and just talk about things that are sort of funny out there from the land of politics that don't make the paper, and that I think should make the paper. And so on Monday, that's what mine always is. And so it's just a little lighthearted and interesting tidbits you don't normally see.
Right.
And tomorrow, both of us, I think, are writing about the debate.
Right.
Yeah. And I just want to underline for those of you watching, again, we have an opinion section. We have a straight news section. My two esteemed colleagues here write for the opinion section. Clint Cooper writes for the right side of the section, the conservative side. Pam Sohn writes for the left side of the section, the liberal side. And so you're going to have some opinions that were stated during this broadcast. You'll have some opinions stated in the newspaper, on social media. That's good. They're supposed to be there. Everything's okay because they're opinion writers, they're editorial writers. They write what their opinion is on both sides of the issue, and we publish that. So, so if you see something that says Hillary did a bad job or Trump did a bad job, you might say, "Oh, the newspaper's biased," and your head will start to explode. But that's from the opinion section, so that's good. We want that. Read that one, then read the other one on the other side, and you'll get all the balance you need.
We're the digital.
Is that a good explanation?
Yeah.
Excellent
Okay.
explanation.
And I do want to finish on, engaging with our viewers here. We asked Dan Landrum when he said there's only one candidate last night talking policy specifics, and then he said you would have had to watch. We did watch. We're asking your opinion. We're asking your opinion.
I'm thinking.
And you didn't watch us because we said that.
He's saying Hillary was talking
I'm
about
thinking
policy.
that you meant Hillary Clinton.
That's what Pam's thinking.
Okay,
What do you think? Do you think Trump talked about policy at
we're
all?
interpreting
I just want
this
to hear more
reader.
from the hammered dulcimer, which is Dan.
Yeah. That would be a good sound right now.
Right.
Okay. I wish we could go out on that, or can, throw a drink at you guys. So whatever. But we have more comments coming in. We could be here all day.
Violence.
Maybe we should start like a 20. Yeah. No violence, no sexual assault from me. No.
Did you hear those words?
No.
She said she threw a. What was it?
was
What have
Well,
you
I
been doing?
almost threw a drink at the
Let's go and get the
viewers
apology out of the way right
In
now.
11 years,
Go ahead
this
and
is gonna come
apology
back
right
on
now.
This is live. It's
We've
going to
got
be on
it
tape.
live.
That's
She was
right.
going to throw a bottle.
Violence is never okay, Leslie.
I am.
There are
I'm
people.
all-
There are
I
victims
am-
of violence in this country right
I
now.
am hoping to find peace as well, like one of our viewers here. I'm all about peace. Yes.
We love you guys. We will never throw anything at you.
Peace.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.